Ayan, so hello everyone. So this is a continuation of my discussion that we've already done during last meeting. So para doon sa 1 BPED ko natapos namin ang Biak na Bato Constitution and the Malolos Constitution, while for my 3 BSNC section 3 BSN section C, ang natapos naman namin is the Biak na Bato Constitution, Malolos Constitution, and the 3 acts of US Congress. Okay, to give you the continuation of my lecture as a whole, of course, para hindi maiwanan ang 1 BPED, magsisimula na lang ako doon sa time ng 3 acts of US Congress. Okay, recap lang. So, the Malolos Constitution continued to take effect from from 1899 going forwards to 1901. Okay? 1899 siya nag-take effect. It is because it was promulgated on January 21, 1899, without even Aguinaldo knowing that the Americans and the Spaniards already had this what we call as the Treaty of Paris. Okay? So, nung nag-promulgate na ang Malolos Constitution, that was also followed on February 4, 1899 by the Declaration of Americans. It was followed with the Declaration of the Americans War against the Philippines or against the Philippine government kasi we already have our government through the Malolos Constitution. And to formalize the colonization of the Americans to the Filipino people, on July 1901, they've installed a civil government. So dito na ngayon papasok ang Acts of US Congress. So these acts will now function as our temporary constitution, and that will be used by the Americans as their guide on how they're going to manage, no, or they're going to govern the Philippines. Okay, so during the American colonization we have 3 acts. First is the Philippine Bill of 1902 or the Philippine Organic Act of 1902, followed by the Philippine Autonomy Act of 1916, or also known as Jones Law, and it was also followed by the Tidings-McDuffie Act of 1934. Okay, so to start it all, we will start with the Philippine Organic Act of 1902, or also known as the Philippine Bill of 1902. Okay, so again these acts will now become our temporary constitution. And this temporary constitution now will provide us a civil form of government. Ibig sabihin, tayo po ay pinamumunuan ng mga governor generals, ng mga armies, American armies in particular. Okay? And the organs of this constitution provides us for the executive branch. Meron po tayo ngayong civil governor and vice civil governor, and they're appointed by the US President with 4 executive departments, namely the Department of Interior, the Department of Commerce and Police, the Department of Finance and Justice, and the Department of Public Instruction. While sa legislative branch naman, we will now practice a bicameral legislature. So, anong ibig sabihin ng bicameral legislature? When we say bicameral legislature, there is a 2 houses functioning, or the legislative branch is now composed of 2 houses, mainly the Philippine Commission and the Philippine Assembly. Okay? Pero, during this Philippine Bill of 1902, si Philippine Commission po at si Philippine Assembly ay appointed po ng US President. Okay? Pero noong 1913 to 1921, we have this Governor General, Francis Borton Harrison. Now, Francis Borton Harrison implemented what we call as the Philippinization policy. Okay? When we see the Philippinization policy, it is the time now that the Americans will hire Filipinos or will appoint Filipinos to government offices. Okay? So ngayon, ang Philippine Commission and ang civil servants will be replaced now by the Filipinos through the appointment of the Governor General who was Francis Borton Harrison. Okay? Na-implement ito during sa kanyang time. Now, to amplify or to develop his idea of the Philippinization policy, naipatupad ito ngayong tatawagin na Philippine Autonomy Act of 1916 or also known as Jones Law. Okay, so this was passed by the US Congress in order to reorganize the government. And its organs is composed of executive branch and legislative branch pa rin. Pero ang nagbago lang dito sa Jones Law, ang executive branch na ngayon, instead of us having the vice civil governor, sa time ng Jones Law, meron na lamang tayong American Governor General. Okay? And then, hahalili naman sa kanya ngayon itong cabinet who will also serve as the advisor body of the Governor General. Okay? Para naman sa legislative branch, we still have the bicameral legislature which is still composed of ito na yung time na na-introduce sa atin yung Senate and House of Representative. Okay? From being a Philippine Commission, napalitan siya ngayon ng Senate, ang Philippine Assembly naman ay mapapalitan ngayon ng House of Representative. And during this time, during the Jones Law 1916, our Senate President was Manuel Quezon and our House of Representative President was Sergio Osmeña. Okay? Ang problema nga lang dito sa Jones Law is hindi na specify no or hindi na mention kung kailan ba talaga tayo Pilipinas bilang mga Pilipino bibigyan ng kalayaan. Basta lang ang naka-mention doon sa Jones Law is as soon as we already have a stable government. Hindi siya talaga naka-specify. Okay? Ngayon, dahil sa meron naman nasa Congress na naman ang mga Pilipino ngayon. So possible na sila Manuel Quezon at saka si Sergio Osmeña ngayon ay ipapadala sa Congress para maiparating din sa Congress kung ano ba yung mga hinanaing or yung gustong mangyari ng mga Pilipino. So given with that power, these people now, given as the representative of the Philippines, made different independent missions. Okay? So sa independent missions na to, ang objective nila is hingiin talaga kung kailan tayo o hihingi sila ng time kung kailan talaga nila tayo papalayain or kailan ba nila talaga bibigyan ng kalayaan ang mga Pilipino or ang Pilipinas. Okay? Ayan, nalilito ako. Okay, so in the independence mission, we already have a total of 5 independent missions. And pang 4th dyan yung OSROX. At pang 5th dyan yung mission na pinamunuan or pinangunahan ni Manuel Quezon. During sa time ng OSROX mission, di sila nag-grant talaga or nabigyan talaga ng final say kung kailan tayo bibigyan ng independence. Well, I'd like you also to observe that the person or the legislature or the person who will bring the bacon to the Filipinos. When you say bring the bacon, kung sino talaga yung makakapagpa-approve sa US Congress kung kailan tayo bibigyan ng kalayaan, ay siya rin yung ipipatronize ng mga Filipino for the next election. Kaya sila ay naguunahan kung sino ba talaga ang makakapag-pa-approve nun sa US Congress. Okay? Kaya lang, sa time ni Osmeña and Rojas, hindi yun nabigay sa kanila. But during the time of Manuel Quezon, no pinesenta niya ito sa US Congress, that was the time that Manuel Quezon was given this Tidings-McDuffie Act of 1934. Okay? This Tidings-McDuffie Act will now be known as the Philippine Independence Act. Now, bakit siya Philippine Independence Act? Because this will provide now the guidelines of a constitution for a 10-year transitional period. ito yung magiging basehan natin ngayon sa pag-craft ng Commonwealth Constitution. Okay? Kaya lang, during sa drafting noon, during sa pag-present noon sa Congress, again, we have the Senate and the House of Representatives. Pag-present noon sa Congress, may isang taga Mindanao in the name of Tomas Cabili na nag-oppose doon nga sa mismong Commonwealth Constitution. It is because, according to him, it does not serve the interest of the people of Mindanao. Okay? Bakit siya nag-oppose? Kasi that was the time that they defined the territorial boundaries of the Philippines. 'Di ba? Nung na-define ang territorial boundaries ng Philippines from Luzon to Mindanao, the people of Mindanao were not able to inform ba na, oh, mga taga-Sulu, lilipat, ah, mga taga-Sulu, magiging parte na pala kayo ng Republic of the Philippines. Do you agree with that? Hindi sila na-consult ba kung okay ba sa kanila or hindi. And that problem of defining the boundaries of the territorial boundaries of the Philippines was brought until today. Kaya nga meron tayong issue ngayon tungkol sa Sabah. Okay? Kasi akala ng mga taga Hulusulo is nasa Borneo pa yung kanilang allegiance. Ngayon pala, dapat ay maging alay na sila ng Republic of the Philippines. Ganun ba na mga problema? Ngayon, kahit na nag-oppose si Tomas Kabili, isipin nyo naman yung power ng nag-iisang tao compared sa majority. So since the majority agreed, promulgated, approved that Commonwealth Constitution, that constitution now will now be presented to the US Congress. Okay? Nung naipresenta sa US Congress, that constitution now was approved by President Roosevelt on March 23, 1935. And again, that constitution will be used from 1935 until 1972, hanggang po sa panahon ni Marcos. Okay? So again, that 1935 Constitution will provide us a republican form of government, presidential type, and yeah. And its organs will now be composed of the executive branch and the legislative branch. Sa executive branch, meron po tayong president and vice president who will be elected for a 6-year term with no re-election. While sa legislative branch naman, we have the unicameral legislature. Okay? Kung sinabing unicameral, nag-iisang house lamang. Ang itatawag dito sa mga taong ito ay National Assembly. But in 1940, it was amended. Okay? Nung na-amend siya, ang pagbabago lang naman na nangyari dito is si executive branch will still be composed of president and vice president. Kaya lang, they will only be elected for 4-year term with no re-election. So instead na 6, nagiging 4 na lamang siya. And for the legislative branch, we have the bicameral Congress. So ibinalik na ngayon yung bicameral legislature na nanggaling pa sa saan ito siya? Nananggaling pa nga sa Philippine Autonomy Act of 1916 or sa Jones Law, kasi that was again the time that the Senate and the House of Representatives was introduced to us Filipinos. So binalik siya ngayon sa Commonwealth Constitution noong 1940 na. And I'd like you to observe that this constitution allows the president to declare martial law. Okay? Ibig sabihin, tong 1935 Constitution ay nagbibigay ng kapangyarihan sa presidente na mag-declare nga ng martial law. And it also granted women suffrage. That was the very beginning that the Filipino women exercised their power to vote, their privilege to vote. That was also the time that the Bill of Rights was added to the Constitution. Kaya sa Constitution natin noon, wala siyang Bill of Rights. This was also the time that the COMELEC was created and the Philippine Armed Forces. And this also declared Tagalog as our national language. Okay? And this constitution will be used this constitution will be used in a 10-year period bago tayo i-grant ng independence. So titignan muna ng mga Amerikano kung kaya na ba natin na pamunuan yung ating sarili. Okay? So since 1935, supposedly pagka 1945, bibigyan na nila tayo ng independence. Kaya nga lang nung 1941, nangyari nga ang World War II. And this also hindered the declaration of the Americans for our independence ba? Kasi nagkaroon nga ng World War II. Okay? So, pagpasok ngayon ng mga Japanese dito sa Pilipinas, actually way back 1939, nandito na ang mga Japanese sa Pilipinas as an employee. Kasi gustong-gusto ngang i-hire ng mga Amerikano ang mga Japanese kasi mas masibag daw ang mga Japanese compared sa mga natives. Okay? Remember ha, mas gusto nila ang mga Japanese kasi ang mga natives daw, once na nakapagtrabaho ng Monday, Tuesday, pagka Wednesday, uuwi na yan sila sa bukid. While ang mga Japanese, pag sinabi mo na dapat magtrabaho from Monday to Friday, magtatrabaho talaga ang mga Japanese. So, kumbaga, hindi alam ng mga Amerikano ngayon na nakapag-hire na pala sila ng mga Japanese spy. Okay? And I'd like you also to remember that the USM became an OTA development company. Meaning, Japanese-owned siya na company. And since it is a Japanese-owned, may mga empleyado talaga yan ng mga Japanese din. Okay? So, pagpasok ng mga Japanese dito sa Pilipinas, they offer the Philippines for its independence. Kaya lang, syempre, ang mga Pilipino, siguro na impluensyahan na ng mga Amerikano kasi sabi nila na mas okay na kami sa mga Amerikano, mas may boses na sila, mas may representation na sila. Kaya ang mga ibang mga Pilipino ay hindi nag-agree na makipag-allegiance sa mga Japanese. Okay? Kaya ngayon, nag-create na naman itong Japanese ng kanilang sariling constitution to install another government to the Philippines. Nga, anong nangyari ngayon sa 1935 Constitution? Nasaan si Quezon? Now, during that time, Quezon was in exile. Tumakas si Quezon para i-save din yung 1935 Constitution because Quezon was the head of the government. He was the head of the state. Kapag namatay siya, papaano ang Pilipinas? So, ngayon, inimbitahan ng mga Amerikano si Quezon from Australia going to America. So, ang nag-serve as our temporary president, as OIC, is si Sergio Osmeña. Okay, again ha, inoferan nga itong si Osmeña ngayon ng independence, kaya nga lang ayaw niya. And sana magiging parte no yung Pilipinas na tinatawag na Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere as one of the countries who will fight against the allies kasi Axis ang Japan. Kaya nga lang nag-oppose yung sila Sergio Osmeña. Pero may ibang mga Pilipino na nakipagkampihan sa mga Japanese. At ito na nga, bumuo ang mga Japanese ng Kalibapi ngayon. They convened Kalibapi. Kalibapi stands for Kapisanan ng Paglilingkod sa Bagong Pilipinas. And this Kalibapi was convened to create the new Constitution of the Philippines. So, nung nakapag-create na ng bagong constitution ng Kalibapi ngayon, this constitution will provide now the Philippines republican government, semi-parliamentary. Paano siya nagiging semi-parliamentary ngayon? Because its organs was composed of executive branch. Si executive branch ay pamumunuan po siya ngayon ng presidente. Pero si presidente will be appointed by the National Assembly. Doon ngayon papasok yung semi-parliamentary. Okay? Kaya lang, dahil sa hindi pa naman sila pwedeng mag-election noon, nag-appoint lamang ang mga Japanese ng presidente in the name of Jose P. Laurel. Now, pagkatapos na ng World War II, noong August 15, 1945, na-reinstall ulit or na-re-establish ulit ang 1935 Constitution. Okay? Kasi nakatakas si Quezon. Pagbalik niya dito, so tanggal na ulit si Jose P. Laurel, ini-reinstall ulit si Manuel L. Quezon. So, fast forward, 1935 ha. Pagka 1965, December 30, 1965, Marcos was elected as our president. Okay, knowing that the Commonwealth Constitution only provides a 4-year term for the president with no re-election, ngayon si Marcos naman, he passed this 1967 resolution. And this resolution now will call a CONCON to change or to amend the 1935 Constitution. Now, what are the amendments that was I'm yeah, what were the amendments that was suggested by Marcos? Ngayon, sa bagong constitution natin, this will provide now, again, the 1935 constitution will provide now a re-election for the president for a maximum of 2 terms. Kung sa 1935, na hindi pa na-amend, isang term lang, 4 years. Ngayon, pagka 1967, 2 terms na. So, pwede na ngayong magpa-re-elect si Marcos, di ba? 1969, Marcos was re-elected. And on 1970, he called for another CONCON delegates. 1971, Carlos P. Garcia was elected as the convention president. So that was the time that the presidential term limit was removed. Ibig sabihin, kung ako si Marcos, ako ang presidente during that time, gusto ko tumakbo, nanalo ako, pwede akong ma-re-elect ng unlimited time. Pwede akong magpa-re-elect ng paulit-ulit. Ganun ba? Okay? And that was also the time that Marcos declared martial law on September 21, 1972. Okay? So, na-approve ang bagong constitution dahil nga unlimited terms ng isang presidente, pwede na siyang ma-re-elect ng ilang beses. That was the time that the 1973 Constitution was passed and took effect. Okay, this provided us a parliamentary style of government, a parliamentary form of government. For its organs, we have the Prime Minister and the President. Ang function ngayon ni Prime Minister, he will be elected by the National Assembly and will serve as the head of the government and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. While si President will now be chosen from the National Assembly. Again, I'd like you to remember the terms that was used. The Prime Minister elected by the National Assembly. Si President naman chosen from the National Assembly. Okay? And the President will function as the head of the state. Ceremonial lamang siya, and he will hold no offices and will be re-elected for unlimited time. Now, what is the difference between the head of the state and the head of the government? Kasi si Prime Minister ngayon ang head of the state, si President naman ang head of the government. Si Prime Minister, since siya ang head of the government, siya ngayon ang rerepaso sa mga batas na ipapasa sa kanya ng National Assembly. Siya ang mag-approve, siya ang mag-veto, siya ang pipirma niyan lahat-lahat. While si President, ang function niya lamang is ceremonial. So, ibig sabihin kung may conference sa ibang bansa, si President ang ipapadala. Okay, bali si President ang representative ng Republic of the Philippines for ceremonial purposes. Kung may mga events na kailangan ng representative ng Pilipinas, siya ang magiging representante. Ganun ba ang function ni President? Okay? So, kung ikukumpara natin, mas mabigat ang function ni Prime Minister kaysa kay President, di ba? Ngayon, sa legislative branch naman, we have the National Assembly. The National Assembly is elected for 6-year per term. Na hindi ko lang alam kung pwede bang ma-re-elect si legislative branch. Kasi hindi naman na-mention dito sa na-research ko. But anyways, that's already part of your responsibility to research about it. Okay, so this 1973 Constitution was amended 4 times. Again, this 1973 Constitution was amended 4 times. First is 1976 Amendment, second is the 1980 Amendment, third is the 1981 Amendment, and fourth is the 1984 Amendment. So, during sa 1976 Amendment, ang nabago lamang dito is ang provisions regarding sa martial law. 'Di ba? Remember that the 1935 Constitution provides a power to the president to declare martial law, but there is no time limit that was declared, no? Walang na-define doon hanggang kailan pwedeng mag-declare ng martial law. Ngayon, sa 1976 Constitution, the provisions that was changed over here is that martial law will continue. Yun lamang, period. The Batasang Pambansa now will substitute the National Assembly. Pangalawang provisions na namin. Unang-una is the martial law will continue. Pangalawa, ang Batasang Pambansa now will replace the National Assembly. Kaya, kung ma-observe ninyo during this time, 1976 to 1976 to 1980, ang mga batas po na pinalabas ng Malacanang dito ay tatawagin siyang Batasang Pambansa instead of Republic Act. Okay? So, instead of Republic Act number 10693, ang tatawagin na dyan ngayon is Batasang Pambansa number 10693. Ganun siya ba? Ganun ang pagbabagong ginawa dito sa 1973 Constitution. Another provisions that was amended was the President will now become the Prime Minister and will exercise legislative power. Ngayon si President ay na-merge na sa Prime Minister. And pwede na siya ngayong magsulat ng mga batas. Okay? Pero, may pero. The President has the power to legislate on his own during emergency basis. So, pwede naman siya mag-legislate or sumulat ng batas kung emergency case. Pero kung hindi, siguro wala siyang power. Pero hindi naman, I don't know kung na-define ba kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng emergency dito. Pwede naman siya na nasa state of calamity ang Pilipinas. So, may power siya na mag-legislate. Or kung ang bansa natin ay nasa state of war, so pwede siya mag-legislate ng kanya lang. Ganun ba? So, yun siya sa 1976 amendment. Now, on 1980 naman, the amendments that was made on 1980 was, this extended the retirement of the judiciary up to 70 years old. While for the 1981 amendments naman, this modified the parliamentary form of government into a French-style semi-presidential system. Again, French-style semi-presidential system. So, si executive power ngayon ay marirestore sa president. And the president will now be elected through direct election. Hindi na siya ngayon i-elect ng National Assembly. Okay? Ibig sabihin, ang mga Pilipino ay may karapatan ng bumoto. And the executive branch now will be composed of three different offices. First is the president, followed by the prime minister, followed by the executive committee, whose members do not exceed from 14 people. Kung sa 1973 original kung sa original na 1973 Constitution, pinakamataas po ang Prime Minister, followed by the President, followed by the Legislative Branch. Dito naman ngayon sa 1981, mas mataas na ang President, followed by the Prime Minister, followed by the Executive Committee. Okay? Okay, so now let's proceed to the 1984 amendments that was made to the 1973 Constitution. Dito naman sa 1984, it abolished the Executive Committee and restored the Vice President. Okay? And the Constitution now will provide us a 100% parliamentary form of government. So I think ang French style lamang doon sa ating government, no, is yung executive committee. Well, I'm not so sure. Yeah, basta yun siya. From French style, semi-presidential, nagiging 100% parliamentary government. Okay? The 1973 Constitution now remained into power until February 22 to 25, 1986. Bakit? Anong nangyari noong February 22 to 25, 1986? Okay, that was the time that EDSA People Power Revolution happened. Okay, because of the power of the people, the government daw, the 1973 Constitution and the government of Marcos dictatorship was ousted. And through the power of Proclamation number 3, this became the provisional constitution that gave Cory Aquino the power to govern the entire Philippines. And this 1986 constitution will now become a transitional constitution ba in order for us to transition from 1973 to a new form of government. I'd like you to recall what happened to the Tidings-McDuffie Act. So bago po tayo nagkaroon ng Commonwealth Constitution, kailangan muna na merong transitional form of government, merong transitional constitution para mabigyan ng time ang mga Pilipino na mag-draft ng sarili nilang constitution. Okay? Sa Tidings-McDuffie Act, 1934, siya ginamit. Pagka 1935, meron na tayong Commonwealth Constitution. Dito naman sa 1973 Constitution, since na-oust nga ang Marcos dictatorship, bago tayo mag-transition sa 1987, meron muna tayong 1986 Freedom Constitution. Okay? So this constitution now, this proclamation number 3 granted the president the power to remove officials from their position. This was the time that the cleansing happened. Kasi kung sino yung mga kakampi ng Marcos dictatorship, o sige, alisin natin sila sa posisyon ngayon, palitan natin ng iba. Okay? The president could also appoint commission to draft the constitution. So this constitution will now be called, by the way, the 1986 Constitution will now be called the Freedom Constitution because that was the time that the Filipino people are liberated from dictatorship, from martial law. Okay? And this Freedom Constitution provided us the organs of executive branch, which is composed of president. So the president now could exercise legislative power kasi hindi pa naman tayo nagkakapag-election, di ba? So basically, the 1987 Constitution adopted some provisions of the 1973 Constitution. Okay? Tinweak lamang siya konti para naman ma-change ba kung ano yung part na nakaka-abuse ng power. Okay? CONCOM was composed of 48 individuals representing the various sectors from arts to religion. So sila-sila po ang gumawa ng ating 1987 Constitution. Ibig sabihin, well represented ang bawat sector from arts to religion. And this was also headed by Justice Cecilia Palma, and the draft was finished on October 12, 1986. During the plebiscite, of course, majority win. Nanalo nga, the 1987 Constitution was now approved, and this provides the President the power to declare martial law. Pero, merong pero. Pero, the martial law will now only take 60 days period. Okay? Meron na siyang definite time. And the Congress now may declare that the country is in the state of war at 2/3 votes. So, ibig sabihin, kung umabot siya ng 2/3, so meaning that it was validated that the country is at war. So, for example sa bansa natin ngayon is meron tayong 340. Teka lang, 340 ba? Or 360? Ayan, halimbawa, sa bansa natin ngayon, sa Congress, we have 340 seats, which is composed of 24 senators and 316 representatives. Ngayon, in order for the Malacanang to declare that the Philippines is at war, there should be a two-third votes coming from that 340. So kung i-divide natin ang 340 to 3 times 2, ang majority votes ngayon is 226.6 or 227. Ngayon, what if the China invaded the Philippines but the Congress who voted that the country is at war is only 200? Hindi siya umabot ng 226. Is it possible that the president will declare that our country is at war? Of course not. Kasi hindi siya umabot doon sa two-third votes. Isipin nyo yung requirements ba? So, yun yung requirements na hinighlight doon sa 1987 Constitution. Okay, going forward, so this 1987 Constitution now will provide us a democratic republican government with presidential system, and its organs is composed of executive, legislative, and judicial branch. Si executive branch ngayon ay composed of president and vice president who are elected by the Filipino people. They are directly elected for a 6-year term. Now, aside pala doon sa president and sa vice president, in the executive branch, we also have the cabinet who is appointed by the president. Okay? At hindi lang po isang cabinet, ha, marami ito sila. And also, in the executive branch, we have the executive department, which is composed of 20 offices. So, si president din po ang mag-a-appoint kung sino yung mga leader or sino yung magiging executive department head, no, ng bawat offices. So, ibig sabihin pala, hindi lang basta-basta yung power na binibigay natin sa presidente. Kasi malaking masyado yung kanyang control sa kung sino yung mamumuno sa buong Pilipinas. Okay? Malamang at sa malamang ang binoboto natin ay presidente, pero by voting our president, we are also voting for the person who will appoint important people ba for those offices. Say for example, sa Department of Agriculture, ganun good. And I'd like you also to observe that there are also politicians running for a seat during election na kahit na hindi naman sila nanalo sa posisyon ay dahil sa ninong nila or ninang ba nila yung presidente, possible na ma-appoint sila sa different offices. Kasi take note, marami pong available na mga positions sa Malacanang. Okay? Kaya be wise lang pagdating sa pagboto ng presidente. With regards to the legislative branch, we also have this bicameral Congress. Meron tayong, sa legislative branch, meron tayong Senate and meron tayong House of Representatives. Now, the Senate is composed of 24 people. Okay? They are elected every 3 years. So, 12 positions are elected every 3 years kasi hindi pwede na walang tao sa Senate. Dapat salitan sila. And we also have the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives is composed of 316 representatives. They are also elected every 3 years. Okay? For the judicial branch, now the judicial branch is composed of Chief Justice and 14 associate justices. Okay? Lahat po ito sila, 15 people, are appointed by the President. So, ibig sabihin, ang power ni President po ay from executive branch going to the judicial branch. Okay? Malaki ang impluensya ng isang presidente kasi siya mismo ang mag-a-appoint kung sino nga yung papapel doon. Say for example, as Chief Justice or Associate Justices, no? Magbabase lamang siya doon sa listahan na ipapasa sa kanya ng Supreme Court and siya na mismo ang a-approve doon. Siya na mismo ang mag-a-appoint galing doon sa listahan. Okay? So, maging matalino lang pagdating sa pagboto. And also, you will take part with the plebiscite ba? So, it's very important for you to be aware of how our Constitution works and how does the Constitution provides power to every government offices. That is why it's very important to know the evolution of our constitution. And take note, ang constitution po natin at ang government natin ay masyado pang bata. Okay? So, I think may natutunan kayo ngayong araw. Please proceed now to the Google form that I created for your quick, short quiz, an assessment that I will check later if may natutunan ba kayo or wala. So, that's all for today, class. Bye, everyone.